Caller said that there's a gash on the patient's neck. It looks like someone slashed her neck.
Something horrible happened here yesterday. A young woman murdered viciously in her apartment.
I feel terribly bad that happened to her.
This story's about love, jealousy, and the crazy things people do when they let their emotions get the best of them, and about a woman who chose the worst way to deal with a common issue. This is the tragic story of Kayla Hodgson, the flight attendant killed by her lover's psycho girlfriend. Our story starts with Kayla Hodgson, a 23-year-old flight attendant and bartender from Tamarack, Florida. This girl was the definition of a good time, always smiling, always ready to turn up. She had a way of making everyone around her feel special. By day, Kayla was slaying the skies as a flight attendant, rocking her uniform and making sure passengers had a smooth ride. At night, she was the bartender everyone wanted to party with, mixing up drinks and getting the crowd hyped. When she wasn't working, Kayla was living her best life in Tamarack, hanging out with her girls and hitting the clubs. One of her close friends was a woman named Sakina Thompson, a 28-year-old nail tech from New York. Just like Kayla, Sakina was a boss in her own right, with a loyal manicure clientele who loved her work. But behind closed doors, Sakina was dealing with some serious drama. She was dating a guy named Terry, and their relationship was toxic AF. They were always fighting, breaking up, and getting back together. It was like watching a bad reality TV show for real. Sakina was constantly accusing Terry of cheating, and she wasn't wrong. The dude had a wandering eye, and he wasn't exactly subtle about it. Sakina knew something was up, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. Everything changed when Sakina and Terry flew down to Miami for a little getaway. They hit up a club, and that's where Terry met Kayla. The two of them were vibing all night, dancing and getting close. Sakina couldn't help but feel a certain kind of way about it. Now, Sakina was the type to take matters into her own hands. She put a tracker on Terry's car and found out he was sneaking over to Kayla's place the very next day. That's when something inside her snapped. See, Sakina had a history of making threats online. She was always talking about how she'd get revenge on anyone who crossed her.
I still got one bitch. I'm gonna smack the wig off, and then I'ma change.
But nobody took her seriously until now.
You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right?
On July 13th, 2022, Kayla's life was cut short in the most brutal way imaginable. Cops found her body in her apartment, stabbed multiple times and with her throat slashed from ear to ear. It was a scene straight out of a horror movie, and it left the whole community reeling.
Caller said that there's a gash on the patient's neck. It looks like someone slashed her neck.
Kayla's family, friends, and neighbors were devastated. They couldn't believe someone would do something so vicious to such a kind, loving person. They came together to mourn, to comfort each other, and to demand justice for Kayla. Meanwhile, detectives were working around the clock to figure out who could have done this. They started looking into Kayla's personal life, trying to find any clues that might lead them to the killer.
My respects to the family. Terrible tragedy. Whatever happened. It's a lost soul.
No matter what the circumstances were, that's undeniably true.
That's when they found out about Terry and Sakina. They discovered the toxic nature of their relationship, the constant fighting, and accusations of cheating. Here's just one example of the texts authorities retrieved from their phones. Find a way to bring my bag. You walking embarrassment, walk around embarrassment, and turned around and was on some oppie shit. I told you. I really know Queens. I'm tired of being fucking humble to you. Just cause I'm not as outside as much. You think I don't know people or people don't know me. You piss me off so much. Sheesh. The picture was coming together. Authorities also found out that Terry had been with Kayla the night before she was murdered. It didn't take long for the pieces to fall into place. Surveillance cameras caught Sakina storming into Kayla's apartment building on the day of the murder, fury in her eyes and vengeance on her mind. She broke into Kayla's apartment and unleashed hell, stabbing her over and over again before slicing her throat wide open. It was a brutal, calculated act of revenge that left everyone who knew Kayla absolutely shattered. 3 weeks later, the long arm of the law finally caught up with Sakina.
The suspect was arrested in a neighborhood in Queens. That was 3 weeks after the homicide here. It's also where residents are relieved.
She was arrested in Queens, New York, and charged with first-degree murder. Kayla's loved ones breathed a collective sigh of relief, knowing that her killer was behind bars and would face justice for what she'd done.
I am very happy to hear about it because we were scared. We heard different stories from different people, and I happened to live on the floor above her, so I'm very happy. It makes me feel a lot better and more secure that they finally arrested somebody.
But the story doesn't end there, y'all. While she was locked up, Sakina found out she was pregnant. In a desperate attempt to gain sympathy from the court, she wrote a letter to the judge begging for mercy. She claimed she was a first-time mother who was terrified of giving birth in jail. She asked the judge to let her out on bond so she could have her baby in peace. Please have sympathy for me, being that I am a first-time mother and have no priors. Never been in trouble before. I am terrified of going into labor while incarcerated because this facility is not properly suitable to accommodate a pregnant woman. Spending my entire pregnancy locked up has been stressful. I have a stable place as well as family to vouch for me. I'm asking you for the opportunity to mother my newborn baby while I fight for my innocence. Yeah, right, your innocence. Luckily, the judge wasn't having it. See, when you take a life in cold blood like Sakina did, you don't get to play the victim card. The judge saw right through her act and denied her request for bond. Sakina was going to have to face the consequences of her actions, pregnant or not. Back in Tamarack, Kayla's family and friends were determined to keep her memory alive. They held candlelight vigils in her honor, released balloons with heartfelt messages, and shared stories about the incredible person she was. They remembered Kayla as a bright light in their lives, someone who could make you smile no matter how bad your day was going. They talked about her infectious laughter, her kind heart, and her ability to make everyone feel like they belonged. As for Sakina, she's still sitting in a Florida jail cell awaiting trial. Her lawyers are probably working overtime to try and get her a lighter sentence. But let's be real, when you do something as heinous as she did, you gotta be ready to face the music. Relationships, y'all. They can be a straight-up roller coaster. When you're caught up in the moment, it's easy to get swept up in all the emotions and expectations. And when things don't go the way you planned, that's when the drama starts. Jealousy, possessiveness, resentment, these are all the ugly sides of love that can rear their heads when you least expect it. But here's the thing. If your partner steps out on you and cheats, you always have a choice. You can either wallow in that pain and let it consume you, or you can pick yourself up and walk away with your head held high. But Sakina Thompson, nah, she took a different route altogether. Instead of dealing with her man's infidelity like a grown woman, she let her anger take over. She made a decision so twisted, so gruesome, that even the judge couldn't believe what they were hearing. See, Sakina didn't just confront her boyfriend's side chick. She didn't just cuss her out or throw a drink in her face. Nah, she took it to a whole other level. She straight up punished that girl in a way that's too horrible to even imagine. And the craziest part? She thought she could get away with it. She really believed that she was justified in her actions, that she was somehow in the right. But let me tell you something. There's no excuse for that kind of violence, no matter how much someone hurts you. At the end of the day, Sakina had a choice. She could have walked away from that toxic relationship and started fresh. She could have taken the high road and left her cheating boyfriend in the dust. But instead, she let her rage consume her, and now she's paying the price for her actions. So let this be a lesson to all of y'all out there. Love can make you do some crazy things, but it's never an excuse to hurt someone else. If your partner can't be faithful, then it's time to cut them loose and move on with your life. Because trust me, no amount of revenge is worth throwing your own life away. Let us tell this story as a celebration of Kayla Hodgson's life. A life that was taken too soon by someone who let jealousy and rage consume them. A life that touched so many others and left a lasting impact on everyone who knew her. So let's keep Kayla's memory alive, y'all. Let's honor her by spreading love and positivity wherever we go. Let's be the light in someone else's darkness, just like she was for so many people. And let's hope that Sakina Thompson gets the punishment she deserves for taking such a beautiful soul from this world, because at the end of the day, that's what justice is all about. Holding people accountable for their actions and making sure they never have the chance to hurt anyone else again. So rest in peace, Kayla. Your legacy will live on through the countless lives you touched and the memories you created. You may be gone, but you'll never be forgotten. And to everyone else out there, stay safe, stay strong, and never forget the power of love and compassion. Because in a world that can be so dark and cruel sometimes, those are the things that will always light the way. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments what other true crime stories you know. Before you go, make sure you like and subscribe. Peace out, y'all.